Well.
The lesson we're doing today is like 1, 2, 3.
We're going to start with algebra and not 8th grade math because algebra is the best to get them on there as soon as possible. And it will also. This is early. I have told my own how to crank shit.
Isn't it that crank?
It is, yes.
What's a crankshaft?
That table over there is held up by a crankshaft. Cool though. Alright, let's check lesson 15. Algebra. X equals 2/3. 2x equals -1, 3, x equals -3, 4. 1, 5 is -144.
Why is it that way?
Because, hey, good morning, fair people.
Is this sitting here?
Yes, this is
It doesn't have parentheses or anything.
it has, well, I know. They have like this.
So why?
That's not
What do you have?
I have
What are
144.
you talking about? Oh, I have negative.
Number 5
Number 5? What is it? I'm
is -144.
negative 5. Why did I have
24 though.
Did I have plus? Oh,
Apparently,
no, 12 things.
2, 3 12 times 2 or 12 plus 12.
I can see it. I did.
What if it's like that?
Okay, but here's, no, it's if it has parentheses around it like this. Rather, if you could just get out and go that way. I'm gonna walk through here. If you have this, that's different. This one-
Yeah, there's more than.
This would be a positive.
At least we can put it in argument.
I looked at it.
So, yeah, this one's just negative 12 times 12. And this one's negative 12 times negative 12.
I'm seeing the hopes of a human being going down the drain really quickly.
Well, I'm sorry.
I know, I already have it.
I mean,
I'm
they
just
should
happy
walk
about the next round.
If you're 95 or above on this test, I would gladly.
I already got a 95 above in my lessons.
I
They do
have
make-
95 or above.
I feel like they make the tests a shade easier than your lessons.
That's good.
85, 86, 85. 92.
And then
80.
I'll probably get a 90.
85.
It'll be a
Oh, I don't know.
94 and no round it to 90.
I have hope.
82. I have 195.
You know, if you just grade and it comes out to 94.4, can you just round it to 95? Just for
I
now.
only have one grade that's a 95 and a 93, and then I have one.
It's almost worse than me.
No.
Well, I mean, no approximately where your grade average.
Well, I
Chicken
have
salad.
79.
What's chicken salad?
You don't have chicken salad that's really
Chicken
good.
salad's better than macaroni salad.
What's
There's some chicken salad that's really good.
Is it just salad with chicken?
No, it's more like tuna salad.
It's like chicken.
I don't know
Yeah,
what
tuna
chicken
salad is
grapes.
like shrimp. What grape?
Grapes? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that stuff before.
And celery.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the celery.
And it's like dressing.
Yeah, there's celery in that one.
I kind of like it.
I know I also have celery in macaroni.
I've never had celery.
We know. So you don't like the celery or you don't like the macaroni?
Well, there's nothing like eating a salad or whatever it is you're eating, like some macaroni, and then all of a sudden just crunching on a little bit of celery. Just somehow.
Macaroni is supposed to be nice and warm, not cold.
It's even worse.
Okay,
Yeah.
like a baked macaroni
That stuff's
thing,
disgusting.
I can almost work with.
I
Macaroni.
Oh, I don't like it,
Disgusting.
but I can almost work with
What?
it. Like a baked macaroni thing.
You know that stuff that you just
Not
get
cold.
macaroni and cheese. Yeah.
Just macaroni, look at baked macaroni. I can
One time I was gonna make.
I wouldn't go out of my way for it. If I was at a restaurant, I would never order it. But
Yeah.
One time I was gonna bake some of that for
I'm sure I
Mom's.
don't.
Mother's Day.
I tried.
So we were making lunch for Mom's. It was Mother's Day. So I was like, okay, I'll make the macaroni. And it said put in like 4 teaspoons of salt or something like that. And I put in 4 tablespoons.
that'll do it. Had enough salt, probably.
I don't like when you have to, like, when you make homemade macaroni, and then the milk
It
turtle.
tasted pretty bad.
You know, let's move on into lesson. No, 6. Number 6. Negative 64.
Okay, we got that one.
That one was hard to get wrong. And number 7 is also negative 64.
Got that one right too.
I don't know. I just had places before.
What? You have 0.64?
Oh.
Oh, no, because even if you multiply it times 3, it doesn't matter. That one should come up to negative 64 no matter what, because it's an odd number. But especially because it has to be a negative because it's in parentheses. All right, 8 is 15. 9 is 81. 10 is 36. 11 is
18.
for 9.
Yeah.
Can't help you. 10 is 36, 11 is 216, 12 is 16 to the 21st, 21 or whatever. 13 is 4 to the negative 24. 14 is S to the 8. 15 is 8 to the negative 7. 16 is E to the 4th. 17 is 5 to the negative 2. 18 is 1 over S to the 12th. 19 is Y squared. 20, 10 to the 3rd over 9 squared. 21, 63, 22, negative 30, 23, negative 8, 24, negative 7, 25 is 66, 26 is 52, 27. 14r squared s cubed minus 2r squared. 28 is r cubed minus 5r minus 10rs.
Can you say that again? 'Cause I don't know.
Say again.
Can you say that again?
Yeah.
R cubed minus 5r minus 10rs.
I don't have the R cubed in the time.
Doesn't
Yeah,
matter
me
which
neither.
order you have. 29. 50, m to the 4th, n to the 3rd, o to the 3rd. 30. 27, m to the 3rd, n to the 3rd, o to the 3rd. 31, negative 16, m squared, n to the 3rd.
Okay, can you read 30?
27, m to the 3rd, n to the 3rd, o to the 3rd.
Okay, and 31. I got mixed up.
And negative 16 m squared n to the 3rd. 32 is z over x. 33, 5y over z squared. 34, 6 x cubed yz. 35, 10, 36, 34, 37, 2. 38, 7 centimeters squared. 32. Why not? Write it in. When do I stop saying write it in? Tap off.
Well, half the time you can't tell that that's actually what it is.
I know.
So they're not very clear storytelling.
Well, when I was asking for area, it's going to be squared, and when I was asking for volume, it's going to be cubed. And if it's asking for the result, you'll have to, I don't even remember, you need a label, it seems like. 39. Heifers to bowls is 2 to 1. Heifers to total is 2 to 3. Bowls to the total is 1 to 3. 40. 7 cents an ounce. The other 41. Tyler, where are you going, son? Your mom? She's busy, I think. You know where she is?
Yeah.
Okay. 41 is 2 feet. 42. If you did it in Celsius, it's 159.9 degrees Celsius. If you did it in Fahrenheit, it's 287.9 degrees Fahrenheit. Difference. 43, 1,520 years. 1,520 years. You're supposed to subtract 1. 44 is n plus 6. 45 is x cubed. 46. Oh my word. They have 8a plus b, or 8 times a in parentheses plus b. Let me look at that real quick.
I have n plus 8n.
Say again?
I have n plus 8n.
You have m and n? So you did the silly thing too? Why'd you do that?
I have that too.
Okay.
Because that's what I told you on the thing.
I forgive you. M's and N's just annoy me because they're so close to get to the same. I only use them rarely.
But when it's kind of 8n plus w, you say that with the options.
That'll work. 47 is coefficient, 48 antecedent, 49 base, 50 exponent, 51 constant, 52 consequent, 53 algebraic expression, 54 variables.
Oh, I look at that one.
Hey, Tootsin, you are stealing my gum. That's mine. Put it back. Ridiculous. You can stick stickers and everything, but stealing my gum, that's kids nowadays. Can't trust them with nothing.
Kids nowadays and the parents nowadays.
That's what I'm saying. Alright, remember, if you have one wrong, 98, 2 is 96, 3 is 94, 4 is 93, 5 is 91, 6 is 89, 7 is 87.
To go back far.
I don't know. What are you concerned about? What are some problems?
Those stupid negative and not
The
negative.
ones in the parentheses, yeah, those.
You're saying as far as like the ones you're supposed to
So
find.
basically, if they have any odd one, they're always going to be negative.
Yeah.
If it's an odd
But
exponent.
then-
If it's an odd exponent, it will be a negative. Absolutely positive.
Like,
100%.
that one is when it
The only
confused
way
me.
that it will be positive if it's in parentheses with an even exponent.
Precisely. So if it's in parentheses, like this, with an even exponent, that's the only time it will be positive.
Then
Has
that
to be-
stupid one I got wrong.
This one. Because the negative is outside, I mean, because there's no parentheses around the negative, that means that there's only
Okay.
negative once.
My question is, what did I do wrong on this one, on 25?
25.
The 3 beside a bracket means 5.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you should have.
Yeah, if there's no sign. There's no
I
sign.
had 6, I had 6 and 6, 36,
Yeah,
right?
write this one out.
And then I wrote 36 times 3.
No, you have to do the times first.
Yeah, you have to go
3
6
plus
times
3.
which 18 plus 3 is 21 times 3 is 16.
You're supposed to leave those ones out.
Oh, okay. I forgot.
You got it?
Yeah.
Yeah, basically you have to remember to do multiplication first after your, I mean, whatever, obviously you have to do your inside parentheses first or your inside the outside. Anything else? You're multiplying and dividing of your exponents, combining like terms. Is that functional for you?
I don't know.
What was 16 again?
Number 16 is e to the 4th. If you're dividing,
That's what I did wrong.
Simply
I
subtract.
forgot. Yeah, let's subtract.
I'm gonna read
Then,
so what would that be?
negative.
X with one.
X to the 4th.
What is their negative?
You're saying if you go,
One, two. No, both of them.
if both of them are negative, then you're just adding a negative. Basically, you treat this like a negative sign. I'm gonna look at subtraction. See a negative and a negative. What's that? So negative 12 plus negative
Why don't
8.
they just make it really simple,
plus eight.
not put the besides then?
It's negative 12 plus.
Then you have negative, negative, so plus. You treat this like
So
a
it'd be
with the
negative
subtraction
4.
sign.
Yeah.
Right, this would be negative 4.
Oh, I would have said negative.
No, that's only if it's, that's, so if you have x with a negative 12
Just
times,
or divided by 20.
right, divided by point 8 would also, or, we're not gonna x to the 8. This would be
Negative 20.
negative.
Plus 20.
So basically, you have to treat this like a subtraction
Can we
sign.
just use these books to help us? Which one?
That was one of the 66, yeah.
The ones I will not remember is in number with days.
I'm gonna definitely struggle through it, but, I mean.
Do we have hope though? That's the
No.
question.
No, there's no hope in this.
I must have.
Well, not for 95
or above, I can maybe get in the 90s. That's what we're looking
You know, that's.
for. Do we have any like A, B, B, C?
We better not.
There is a ratio story.
No, is that the only story problem?
Worth 1 percentage point each block. No, my bad. I'm sorry, I blew up. I was wrong.
There's another one?
Has some times. So like how many years passed between two events. So when you're doing how many years passed between two events, with one's A and one's B, so you subtract. And a temperature change from a negative to a positive number. How much was the temperature change? Cost per mile for fuel for a trip. What does this per sign mean? This per mean? Okay, so cost per mile, you would write it out as, how would you do it?
Cost per mile.
Cost over mile, and then divide by the mile. Here's that too.
I'm sorry, what? No.
Not really. Feel I can do these.
How many years older are you now?
I don't know, I
How old are you?
can't remember. 20, Maybe 26 or 27. I think I'm 27. You're born in 94, August 94, so that yes.
So isn't it 1 cubic centimeter equals 1 fluid ounce?
1 cubic centimeter is 1 fluid ounce? No.
I mean 1 fluid ounce. 1 cubic centimeter equals 1 fluid ounce.
1 cubic centimeter is 1 milliliter. You're mixing.
Okay.
All right. One more thing, real quick.
Real quickly.
Real quick.
You don't want to do this.
Okay.
That was real quick.
Too bad. How do you do that? Multiply that, that's 36.
Quadruple. Why?
What's the word for it? Quadruple.
7 is septuple, 8 is octuple, 9 is. Could be. 10 is heaping lots.
What is it?
Sextuple. Sextuple. If you have
But if you have 6 babies, what are they called?
sextuplets.
That's what they're called? I thought it was like quintuplets.
Quintuplets is 5. It goes quadruplets is 4, quintuplets is 5, sextuplets is 6, septuplets is 8, 7, octuplets is 8. I have no clue what 9 is. I'm not worried about having that many children at once. It's true.
The most I heard of was there was a lady that had 6 children at once.
4 babies.
4,
In the world record.
1 entire job. On the right side, you'd be halfway to a dozen right now.
But like dad, like mom and dad just stay up at night. Like Gideon just used, they lost a lot of sleep because of it. Imagine trying to do that 6 times over.
You lose a lot of sleep because of any child.
I know. And like 6 of them.
Trust me, I've tried it.
Kate, do you make your dad stay up late?
I feel like you've still got some of my gum.
Cheers on some over there.
All right. 8th grade math. Let's check lesson 2. One A. 7.29. B is 0.09. C is 4/25.
What?
4/25. Because you square the top, you square the bottom. So 4/25. Or C. You can fix B and C if you on number 2 if you want right now.
No, I'm pretty sure I got. I just
Okay.
wrote 5. I just wrote 2 and 5.
Well, 2. 2.25. B is 4/9 and C is 49/64.
2A?
Yeah, it's
I do
I
not.
have 9.25.
I have 12 point.
12.25. It can't
Yeah.
be 2
Well,
point something.
3
I said
squared.
12.25, didn't I?
3 squared is 9.
Okay,
3 squared is 9.
Yeah, but 12, but 3.5 times 3.5 is not 9.
I don't
5
like
times
these.
3.5 is
They're
12.25.
No, they're not. They're
You just have to do
annoying.
multiplication. You can't do these in your head.
I like
Well,
them.
the fraction one's expensive.
Well, they're more. It has to be done.
I like them. 'Cause
All right, 3. Good job. 4. 14.8. $14.83. 5. A is no. B is yes. 6 is 24 containers. 7. 1.4.
I have 8 pints.
yeah, I have 8 points.
Oh,
I have 24.
how many
I have 24 containers.
pint containers? Say what?
I have 24 pints.
24 pints. Yes, that's correct. 7. Oh my goodness, it's just that amount of macaroni salad.
3 gallons.
Just imagine a 5-gallon bucket, mostly over half full of macaroni. Gooey.
I wish we could stop talking about macaroni salad.
It just
We could
doesn't
talk
make
about
sense.
donuts instead.
Ah, the donut is really good.
God
You're gonna get us some.
I just made these donuts.
I'm not going to say that bad. I'm just going to say the foundry in which they were cast had a lot of uncommonly tough metal. Alright, 7A. Here's 1.4 acres. B is 576 fluid ounces. The less than or equal to arrow going to the left. Under. 9 is 1, 10 is hypotenuse, 11 is legs, 12 is range, 13 is 27 cubic feet. B is 9, 14, 8. B is 128. 15 is 16, and 32. Well, 32 on B. 16. A is 0.125. B is 0.3.
I hope this would be called 16 in fraction.
16A in a fraction?
Like, 6, I mean,
15.
like 12 and a half.
Oh, they're looking for the decimal, not the
Is that
percent.
wrong then?
That's wrong, unfortunately. 17 is, A is 1 equals X. And B is N equals 4. 18. A is a loss of $226, the percentage of which is 5%. Rounded to the nearest whole. 19, A is $13, B 3%. 20, 2 times 7 is A, B is 5 times 7, C is 2 times 5 times 7 with an LCM of 7. 21, 50, 22.
How did you get that?
I didn't, the answer
How
you
did
got.
they get that?
Never kidding, because I got 8.
I got 29.
I got 8.
I got 50.
So let's start at the beginning. We have the key
Nine.
with 3, which
Equals
is
27.
97. 27 plus 13 is
40.
40. Divided by 10,
4.
precisely, times the square
8
of
equals 32.
32.
Plus 1, do that.
25.
Which
Okay,
is 57.
57 minus 7.
Minus 7. 50. Okay.
Somehow I came out with 50.
Yeah, there's a lot of funny squares and things in there. 22, 12 plus 2n equals 53.
I have 10 plus 12 equals.
I have N
Oh.
squared.
I have n squared plus 12.
No, twice a number is different than square of a number.
No, I have 2.
Twice, a number times itself is the square of a number.
No, I just have
Well, like-
2 times n plus 12 equals
Okay.
56. Which. I don't know where I got the 56.
That one I can't get. That one's just gonna. 23, 52 minus n equals 6.
And N minus 52.
That's wrong. 52 minus n is a number less than 52. That's 6. The less than means it's on that side. It's 24. N plus 16 equals 63.
And 60 plus 1.
That's fine. That's fine. It was an addition. Okay. 25. N over 37 equals 18. If your n
I was
divided
very
I
by
have 36 over N.
I was very worried about that problem.
yeah, if you have what is it, n divided by 37, that's okay. I guess I'll give you grace on this one, just with the n over 37. That's 26, $700, total amount to repay $4,200. 27, 49 feet, 28, 40, 29, 35, 30 is 1/5. Oh, by the way, make sure you have the formula on 27.
I know. That's
Mark one wrong.
I have the formula.
Oh my
I have the formula, but it's not written out. Like
Yeah, me too. Like, it's not right.
And it needs to be written out.
what?
Yes.
Oh no.
29 is 35, 30 is 1/5.
What's where are you at? 31?
29 is 35, 30 is 1/5. 31, n equals 3 1/4, b 4 13 c, your final answer is 25 and 1/12. 32, a is -3, b is -2, c is -3. 33a, -24n plus 30, -24n plus 30. B, 42n minus 48. C, -7n plus 30.
What happened about
This is
like,
a sad day.
so for like 33, I went 42 minus 48. I forgot the number of n. Oh my god, wrong.
The n is pretty important. It is. All right. So if you used an alternate way rather than the trapezoid formula, I forgive you for 34. But
I
your
didn't
answer
use
still has to be correct.
I didn't use it.
You you use the triangle on the square?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Well,
Okay.
a rectangle.
Yeah, rectangle. That, I'll forgive you for that one. Number 34 is 47.5 centimeters squared.
That's 65 centimeters squared.
I have 45.
35 is
45.
How could it be?
Amazing love.
got 65. How does it come with that?
I'm trying to decide how you came up with that. Did you get to go half of your triangle?
Yeah. I just use, I don't know what one I use. I'll probably use the wrong one. I use, I don't know what one I use.
Well, if you use the formula, at least you have a point for that.
Yeah, I use
35 is 57.12 square centimeters.
What?
The answer
85? No!
That's what I need.
I have my whole formula written down.
57.12 centimeters squared. So here you have your whole formula written out. The area of your rectangle should be 32.
Yeah, I have that.
In the
The
area.
area of your circle is 50.24. You divide that by 2, you get 25.12.
50.24.
25.12
Plus 32 equals.
plus 32.
Equals 82 and
No.
Whatever you said.
Okay.
No, because that was your whole
2 plus 5 is 7. 3 plus 2 is 5. 57.12.
It seems like you always do something wrong. You always forget to do half the circle or else half the circumference or something.
Yeah, half circle. Trust me, I know. I've been stung by them. Inexpensive.
You know what made me really mad? Sometimes they have like a square and then 2 circles, half of a circle on each side. And so I just did it as 1 circle, and I got it wrong.
That is annoying.
Apparently the 2 circles
Whatever.
are
The math is here and it works out as near as I can tell. Same with the trapezoid.
trapezoid.
I hate when they're right.
36. 559 square inches.
I'm 554.
I had 551.
Oh my goodness. 559. No, this can't be happening to me.
Okay.
It is.
Not at a time like this.
All right. So the area of the base is S squared. So 13 squared is 169.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. So the area of the side, 1/2 base times height. So that's 1/2
Times
13 times
4.
15. So 1/2 times 95. 195. 1/2 times 195 is 97.5
Times 4
times 4
is 390.
116.
It's
Oh,
390.
yeah, 390
And then you
plus
plus those
169.
together.
390 plus 169 is
Oh, okay.
550.
Hey, can you come up here?
Okay, so I got wrong in my multiplications and like.
Is this a 9? I mean, it could almost look like a 9. This could almost be a 9.
Kylie, is that a 9?
This could almost be a 9 too.
5.
A 5?
Yeah.
I mean, it looks definitely a lot more like a 1. You know, I mean,
Well, see yours.
Well, here's the deal.
It
If you have the right answer here, which it looks like that is the right answer,
Yeah, I mean,
I'll give you that one as a half. I'll give you a half on that one. In my kind and generous spirit.
that could almost be a 9. Just missing the circle on the top.
And if you can show me, on your.
What happened here is like this
9
this 9 kind of got a little
Yes,
bit
multiplication
messed up,
is
and then
wrong.
this one just got one messed up.
That's unfortunate. That is really unfortunate. All right, last grand hurrah, number 37. 10.24.
2-4?
Yes, 10.24.
That's
I got
A.
10.04.
How does 3 squares get to 10?
You didn't multiply it.
Yes,
How is it 0.24?
Alright, let's do this one.
It's 2. It's 2.
3.2? 3.2?
Yeah.
Alright.
It's not
You have to multiply it like this. You have to multiply it like this when you're doing it, unfortunately. So 4 and 6. 0, another 4 and a 6.
No, 9.
A 6 and 9.
A 6 and a 9.
Duh. I was just, I don't know what I was doing.
That's backwards.
Okay, I'm obviously just listening to you and not doing. Alright.
You almost made a 9.
Yeah, just about. It was a 4. 4, 9. Alright, so now we have a 4, we have a 12, we have a 10.
How did
I just got the thing wrong. No, it was too bad there.
Dude, look, I have this thing. I have it right here in my book and I have the answer.
You have the answer there?
Yeah, I read the answer
Translate it?
twice and I got a 10.04.
Okay, if I don't get this last problem right, I'm gonna throw
If
the
you have the right answer there, I'll give you a half on that too, Chris. You just
Oh,
like
No, I don't have that right answer. I have 10.04 twice.
Oh, that way. No, unfortunately, I can't help you. B is 25 over 36.
Woo! Hallelujah, got one right. Entire lesson.
37. That's 38 and now.
Oh, no.
34. 5, 6, 7, 48. 49. 50. 51, 52, 54, 55. 6, 7, 8, 9, 61, 62, 63.
You can remember.
65, 66, 67, 68.
Be merciful.
I am. I'm counting as many things as I can possibly count.
Did you count all the
I
formulas?
counted every formula. If there were 3 formulas, I counted it 3 times. Alright. What do we have? 12 and a half is 92. Which of these works?
I have 4.
You have 4? 94.
8.
8? That's an 88.
I trumped you all. I got 13.
Still over 80. It's
Really?
81.
It's not bad.
Under the circumstances, we'll put it
Problems are hard.
well, because real problems can be tricky and hard like that. The thing is, sorting through all the stuff you don't need to find the stuff you do need, which is really hard.
What are we learning for decision?
Huh?
Is it complicated?
Complicated? Like terms and expressions.
Yeah, like one of those
Is
problems.
anybody twitchy?
Me.
They have like one of those
After
problems.
yesterday, I had a very bad feeling about this.
Like number 1.
The cool thing for you guys is you guys are learning exactly what the algebra class is learning, so it'll be easy.
This is like algebra.
Mr.
It is
K.
algebra.
In 1, 2, and 3 on like the
Even
lesson
they
3.
can do it.
Add some of those in like the middle of the lesson.
Yeah, it's just like sporadically.
It's like weird.
It's like,
Howdy! Here you are! Have this!
They like slamming the door.
alright. First things first,
On
though.
that toast.
Remember that when you're doing the square of a number, you have to just simply multiply that by itself. You can't just do it in your head. You have to write it out. And don't listen to what other people are saying, because that's how you mess up. That's what happened to me here just now. 6 and 9, and they know they're doing that. Kind of need somebody else to do it for me. Well, yes, obviously. If I have a bunch of little slaves to do the math, I'm going to do it. And a fraction squared is what? What do you do? A fraction squared?
You go.
9 over
Yes.
16.
You go.
9 over
3, 4,
16.
5, 6.
Yes, so you square the top, square the bottom, 9 over 16. Which happens to be its lowest floor. All right. to do to get this figured out. So this is going to, this is some algebraic terminology, and you'll want to get it right. It's not hard, it's just memorization, right? Let's start with this. 4x plus 3x minus 6 plus 8. You'll recognize this from the top of page 11.
So it would just be 7x plus 2.
7x minus 6 plus
Hang on, we're not worried about that. We're not trying to solve it.
So, yeah, but
All right, so here's the deal. At this point, you should have grasped the concept that if you have
I don't
that all that this stands for is it just indicates whether a number is positive or negative. Right? That's all it stands for. This is a negative number, this is a positive number. Here we have a negative and a positive number. Here we have, is this positive or negative? Positive, right, because it has no sign. And this one is a negative. So here we're just putting positive and negative numbers together. That's the first thing to understand and make sure that you have, is that when you're adding and subtracting, you're just putting positive and negative numbers together. Let's just simplify. Okay, so here's the deal. This is a term, as is this, as is this, as is this. Terms are separated by positive and negative signs. Like terms have the same variable and the same exponent value, right? So, if you have 4x plus 4x squared, these are not like terms, all right? These, on the other hand, are like terms. You can combine these.
So if you put a square between the 3 and the 4, would they be like then?
Right. If you put a square behind both of them, they are still like terms. They have to have the same variable. They both have to have an x. They both have to have the same exponent. So like this, 3y plus 4x, these are not like terms either. You cannot combine them. Which should be fairly straightforward because as different letters stand for different numbers, they cannot be combined. All right.
Well, if they can't combine, how do you figure out the problem?
You just have to make them there and sort it out from there. You just can't combine them. You have to leave them separate and sort it out, and then figure it out from there. If you can combine them, then you can work that to your problem. All right, numerical coefficients. So a coefficient is the number factor. This is a coefficient. So is this, so is this, so is this. It's the number part. That's a coefficient. Call it a numerical coefficient. We call it a coefficient. All right? So we have a term separated by the signs. We have a coefficient with like terms that have the same exponent and the same variable. And then we have a constant. This is a constant, as is this. It's basically anything that doesn't have a variable with it. It's called a constant. So we can combine constants because they're a like term. We can combine other like terms. Everybody's happy. I don't know if we're going to be doing that today, but we are going to be, just identifying constants, numerical coefficients. Oh, circle the terms of the numerical coefficients with no exponents, underline the terms with exponents. Hey,
So,
we'll send it. Yes?
how do you do that?
All right, so here's what we do. First, we're going to go, let's just look at number 1, and we'll look for the constants in number 1. Number 1A. Where are the
They
constants?
did that one first.
Well, number 1A, okay, perfect, let's do 2 then.
How about we do number
Or
one?
1B, sure, that's what I meant. Actually, it's just not what I said. hate it when they have the letters in there. When it works in some situations. All right,
So
so.
would you underline 9a squared and make it
Okay,
2a
well, let's
squared?
go through, let's do the constants first. So
That
identify the constants in 1B.
That would be 7 and 3.
7 and 3, actually, the plus 7 and plus 3. We can just go, put a box around the whole plus 7 and plus 3, which I named up here. But that is the constant. Plus 7, because that's identifying whether that number is positive or negative.
And then,
It says the
wouldn't
box
you just
is marked.
underline the rest of it?
In this one, yes, you do. All the rest of them get underlined because they
Don't
are,
you circle negative 2a squared and negative 7a squared?
no, because they have exponents. It says, the third instruction says, underline the terms with exponents. So all of those get underlined. You don't do any circling in this one because there are none of them that have a numerical coefficient or a coefficient like this, but no exponents. That would be like this one right here, like circling that. All right, 2A. Circle the, oh, actually, go for, let's do the
Box
constants
four.
first.
Plus
Constants,
4.
yep.
Box plus 4.
Plus
That's
4.
it.
Plus 4 needs to be in a box. It's the only constant you have.
And then
Chris, give me, what are the numerical coefficients that have no exponents?
3x and 5y.
3x and plus 5y.
Plus
Put it
5y.
around the whole plus 5y. And Leah, what about a term with an exponent in that case?
Underline 7x.
Yes, plus 7x squared needs to be under. Yes,
I
they are.
first a motion that we should do all of these in class.
I second the motion.
I hold the veto power. But we might anyway. I was actually leading that direction. I want to get this has to be solid in your heads, right? So Leah, did you just do one? Cody, constants.
you box. Oh, are you doing?
We're doing 2B.
You box 11.
11 is the only one that gets boxed. Richard, which one gets circled?
Plus a squared and
No.
Wait a second. Wait,
It's a
wait.
circle.
nope.
Plus
Numerical
You're gonna do
coefficient.
plus 7a and negative a.
Yes.
Negative
Do-
1.
Do
Negative.
they all get in one circle?
No,
or two
separate
circles?
circles.
And you underline plus a squared.
Underline
plus
your x.
2b squared.
Right. Exactly.
Are you supposed to underline those separately? But
Yeah, that's the idea. Is they're underlined.
I just underlined them all if they're in a row.
Underlining is different than circling, but make sure that the circle is circled separate. All right, number 3A.
Negative 18 is box.
Negative 18 needs boxed. You're correct. What gets circled? Cody.
plus 5x and 1y.
Right. Plus 5x and y. And what gets underlined later?
Huh?
What gets underlined in 3A? Terms with exponents.
Negative y squared. Cubed. And negative 7y squared.
Right. So negative y cubed and negative 7y squared. Those you get underlined. Oh, the others are done. All right. And lastly,
24 is a box. Yes.
24 gets boxed.
Plus.
Negative. Negative
Plus 24,
4x
yes.
gets circled.
Negative 4x gets circled.
And then plus 7x squared is underlined, negative x squared. X. Whatever that is.
X to the fourth.
X
And then your x to the 4th gets circled.
After cubed, you just simply go x to the fourth. Truth of the matter is, I go x to the third as well.
It's easier to say that.
Hmm?
I think it's easier to just say cube.
It is, but for everything over that, you say two, whatever it is. All right.
I need help with number 5.
Well, I was going to talk about number
Number
5.
5 and 22.
5 is easy. It's just basically a logic problem. It's like 2 for a nickel or 3 for a dime. It's basically
That's
that.
essentially
Yeah.
what's going on.
2 for a what?
It's like saying 2 for a nickel or 3 for a dime. You have to figure out where you're getting the better deal.
I have the 12 ounce thing, but I don't know if that.
You would be wrong in that respect. Basically, so how much of a pound is 12 ounce?
It's 3/4.
2/3.
Right. So 12 ounces, 12 ounces, 3/4 of a pound. So it's 12 to 16, right? 12 to 16, 3/4 of a pound. And that sells for how much?
$4.99.
4.99. All right, so now, now we sell 1 pound, which is obviously 4/4.
It's exactly the same though, literally.
Not quite.
It's,
For 5.99.
Yeah.
All right, let's just round to this because it's going to be easier. We'll call this 6 and we'll call this 5. Because it'll be simple.
yeah. So you need to buy the 1 penny.
So this,
Ugh.
you can buy 3/4 for $5. So how much is it per quarter? So 3/4 times divided by 5/1.
53 months.
Okay. Is that how it works? Yeah, sure. All right. So basically, what we're doing here is we're trying to find the smallest number. This is not going well. What's a better way to do this?
Just use your
Mathematically.
brain.
Well, yeah, that's what I did, but I'm trying to think.
Well, what you can do is just divide.
Okay, so 4/4.
You're doing it right.
I think I'm doing it right.
That's how
You
I.
divide this by 6/1, or you multiply it by 1/6. This, I think I'm confusing matters though. I think I'm making this any easier.
So you can
This is going to be 1/12, right? So we're looking for the smallest number. So we basically have to decide whether 3/20 is bigger or smaller than 1/12.
I'm just going with the pounds then.
Well, you're right.
Okay.
I think maybe the better way to do it is figure out how many cents per ounce.
Yeah,
We
that
should
would
have gone
actually.
cents per ounce.
That would
Yeah.
work.
That would be more. That would make more sense.
Yeah.
Cents per ounce. Yeah. So basically, cents per ounce on the. So that's just a division problem still. But yeah, exactly. So 12 ounce, cents per ounce. Oops, per division line. So it's what is it, $4.99. $4.99 for 12 ounce. Or $5. Good enough for me.
$5. Yeah, there's $6.
6 over 16.
ounces.
Yeah. And so then you do your division, it comes out. Everything from 16 ounce.
So then I need help on 22. I don't have. Yeah,
That one's basically the same thing. No, but it's.
so you just find the area, the whole, or the volume of the whole.
Okay.
So which would be,
The cheese, the
16
cheese
times
times
20.
Okay, so the volume that the cheese takes up is how many cubic centimeters?
700.
No,
No, it's 12.
1,200. And
No.
again?
Yes.
Yes.
60, when you
Yeah.
find the
Sorry.
volume, it's 5 times
Not
12.
1,200.
12. 700.
Not 1,200, not 700 either.
So 5 times 12 times 20.
5 times 12.
Which is
Equals 60.
60.
12
times
nines,
5
60.
times 12 is going to be 60 times
60.
what?
20. Yeah,
Times
20.
20.
Okay, let's watch this. Let it.
1,200.
Yeah, I know.
They
but
didn't. I came up with a number that's right, and they just took it again.
Because you
It
already
has
did
to be
12.
1,200. It can't
Well,
be.
if you're doing it like that, it's.
Ah, yes, you're right. It is 1,200. Here's the I was looking at something else. How many? So here's the question. So you're right on 1,200.
Then it's cubic centimeters.
Cubic centimeters.
No, wait.
No, it's
The
120.
cheese takes up 1/10.
120 cubic
Of the
Divided by
space.
10.
The cheese takes up 1/10 of the space in the milk. So here's the deal. We're trying to figure out how many cubic centimeters of milk.
You times 10. You times
So
it by
you
10.
multiply it by 10.
So that should come out to 12,000. 12,000.
Right?
That's how many cubic
Because-
centimeters.
12,000, right? Is
And
that?
then do 12 liters or
12 liters. So I did one thing wrong. I divided it by 10 instead of times it. So I came out with 0.12 liters.
Yeah, that would be.
So I basically had it right just
There are 1,000 cubic centimeters in a liter.
So there would be
12.
12 liters. Point-
Now we can.
No, the 1/10 that was throwing me off because I was looking at the answer and then maybe really carefully. But yeah, so we're right on the 1,200, obviously. Just did the multiplication by 10. Mm-hmm. Did you know? No, one more time with this fun fact. But I'm gonna say it anyway. So, back in the early pioneer days, corn was harder to transport because it took up so much volume. So what people would do is they would turn it into whiskey. I don't know why, because it doesn't have the same food value, but it's easier to transport.
Yeah, it's like way.
Corn whiskey,
Way
I think I heard of that.
Wasn't that the whiskey rebellion that was?
Well, yes, that was a big part of it.
I was
I'm
just
not quite
reading
sure
about
why
that.
people were like why you would do whiskey rather than corn because
No,
like I
they
said-
they would sell the corn, but the whiskey would bring just as much money. And so they
and it was
always
easier to
did that.
transport per gallon. Yeah, that makes sense. That's logic. I can work with that. I mean, of course, drinking whiskey is instead of corn tortillas or whatever is
That's not very much.
questionable for your health, but
Or even just corn.
I understand. Yeah, I understand the corn pone or whatever it was, cornbread.
Johnny.
I understand the logic of their rebellion, I suppose, monetarily.
I need help with my 2 whole bunch of problems.
Okay. You're always gonna be a lucky person.
Parts of an expressions a little bit separated by positive or negative signs are called. I'm not sure what. Yeah, that was it.
I like these problems up here. They made them very easy.
Which one?
So they're kids
Make
are-
sure
The
these
two last-
spells are
yeah.
formed.
So what B is
I got
that?
it.
Okay. Okay, it's term.
Yes,
I found
terms.
that one.
Terms are separated.
Numbers are numerable. What's it like one thing, like true, false, or?
A number factor in a term used with a variable. So just the number part of but it has a variable. So a variable is like the x or the y or whatever, that's a variable.
And
So the number that's used with the variable is called, it's also not here in this box, by
These,
the way.
numerical coefficients.
Numerical coefficient.
How do you say that?
Yes,
And how do you spell it?
close enough. Well, I'm just C.
Constants.
Standing number, yes.
Is A.
What's the formula?
And I'm trying to figure that out.
It's the formula of anything essentially that,
And A is BH. Based on type. And something else.
I feel like, let some of my children stay here.
They really had fun.
Yeah, they really sent it.
They like have stickers. They were stealing gum. I mean, yeah.
Is it
Tyler was slurping
Yes,
down that like it
capital
was
H.
coffee.
Is it volume?
He was stealing my coffee?
He drank some out of that,
and then he
that.
came over here and drank some.
I never win anything. I was already running out of coffee. And then my children
Is that right then?
pilfered. Yeah, so you have to find the area of the base.
So
The area of the base is,
3 times 1,
well, that's close. It's a triangle, so
1 half 3 times 1.
yes.
So it'd be 1.5 times 8.
Yes.
I have to explain the emotions.
That's true. I was going to remind you this morning, and I forgot.
I
Nice
just
catch.
about had a heart attack.
Also, I think I'm going to, originally I had said that we weren't going to be doing didn't want to do the games every time. And that
I had fun
happened
with
last
my
time.
games.
I understand you did, but I also feel like you knew that I said that you weren't supposed to do them. I decided not to.
You said
interrupt. I did. I decided not to interrupt you in the middle
I
of
agree.
this. Okay, that's why you can drop in the middle of your stuff. Come up with something else. Thank you very much, appreciate it.
So we can't like have a game.
No.
No, I don't have.
I don't like it if it's like totally different.
No. I want you to actually put something together. I'd rather have a short talk on something you actually prepared yourself and actually use some scripture and talk. What you got going.
I have a
Or
question.
story and scripture or whatever.
How many minutes?
Figure out
He
45
drove
minutes.
his truck 1,000. Okay, hang on. This is the trick right here.
Per mile?
Cost per mile.
I know.
I got the money.
I've been doing it, but it
To the
doesn't
cent.
come out.
To the nearest cent.
That's what the nearest said, but you have on 41 and 40.
To the nearest cent? Okay, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Does it go how many cents? I typed it on my calculator and it still was not coming out exactly.
What did you say?
Remember you guys got cost?
No, that's less
When
money.
you go, when I was checking, like 12, 25, 9, yeah, so you go point 56 to it.
I think
Not
it's
56, 88.
I know.
I mean, and so,
First step is market.
But it's gonna have to be $1 or something.
but I'm questioning.
It's not
How far
required.
do you go to this and to this?
I got $1.
Games on mine.
You know,
And I came up like that.
that's my question.
That's the only
Now
way.
I do something I mentioned over
Okay,
there.
what's your problem?
Do you have to switch these two?
So remember here, remember it's like this. Get your cost per mile. This guy jumps off that end, and then we have cost under the mile.
But come here, I'm gonna show
So we
you.
get our miles here at cost.
So if
Then you have
I,
1.1.
so to check it, if I find this one, this is you can't do this, right?
Yes. Close, because you rounded. Right?
Like doing a little division.
So it should
It
come
came
up.
out to 686.
Yeah, that's close.
That one,
The absolute value of the sum of two different numbers. Okay, hang on, remember,
That's the absolute value.
okay, that is an absolute value, so you have two different numbers, which you're going to write as. How would you write the sum of two different numbers?
Money.
The sum?
Addition.
Is it?
Yeah, that's what I think. I can't remember. I'm trying to remember to go down.
Okay, so addition. How do you write two different numbers?
Type 2 there.
Okay.
And they're both in the absolute value.
Are they?
No idea.
The absolute value of the sum of two different numbers. So what's the important thing to remember here?
They're both in bracket B.
Like this or like this?
Is it different if they're...
Yes.
So just give a good guess on which one you think it is.
No, use logic.
My logic isn't working today.
That's unfortunate because we need it for this test.
I think it's the bottom one. I was gonna do a T, but then it looks too much like the initial sign.
Yeah. T's. These are the signs I do not like. And the variants T, M, N,
Oh.
X is a little questionable sometimes. O I do not like. These I tend to. I avoid them. X I kind of.
But I know that I have 42.
What would you say?
No.
Russia, the battle of Jericho.
He needs 1,000 millimeters.
Okay, so that's his total. And he's at 20% premium. So it's 20% of 1,000.
Figure that out, but how you, for like the percent thing. So if actually you have 20 over 100. I will write that one. And this is this. Then this is 0. It's 100. No. the one's 1,000. Let's check it out, if it's gonna be 10,000 divided by 100, cross out, two zeros and it's.
I don't know. I didn't work here. I mean, obviously on a test, I can't really tell you the answer. So, what is this line from the storybook? Looks like a pheasant flew in here and blew up. Looks like
a sticker pheasant.
looks like a sticker factory flew in here and blew up. Perfect. This is almost one of those books that's almost better to listen to. I'm not sure. I had considered reading it, but I was like, speaking of which, I need to print off a run-on sentence that my brother wrote. It is time for recess. This, I guess. Yeah. I switched directions. Yes. Monster, what's going on? I know. Here, come over here. Looks like a sticker factory flew in here and blew up.
Did you just get out of bed?
Oh,
Uh-oh.
wrong one too.
I like chicken noodles.
I'm not very sure about this bed.
Fun to play.
It is.
I wasn't feeling good about my dinner and I got heated.
I don't know.
We don't know how it is. I don't know how.
Inconvenient.
I don't know. I don't do it all.
Yeah,
You do? We're gonna have to go home and find one.
I'm cool with that, we can ask Mr. Walter. I don't know, I'm not sure who's, oh no, it's Wednesday, so they're picking.
If anything, like, so we'll just get the same ones wrong.
I know, we'll get the same ones wrong, we don't care.
To study together, is that what you're saying?
No,
Oh.
it's awful
I
bad.
wanna look at it.
Don't even think. What test?
I guess it's what, after 2 weeks.
Oh no, Lisa.
I already know it's awful.
Well,
Lisa.
After she has it, can she still look at it?
huh?
After she has it, can she still change it?
After it's handed in, it's kind of,
There's one that she's like really easy.
We always were allowed to get them back if there was something wrong.
Oh no.
I know I have lots wrong, just,
Is it recess time or what?
it is.
Oh.
but I can't.
Should we
help it.
stay for that yet, Tyler?
Yeah.
After all,
Which one is it, Jason? Let me look at it.
can I tell her?
I'll find it. This one?
Yeah, no, in both of these.
I'm a winner. Thank you.
I'm not
Here,
wrong.
let's tuck this back
Oh,
in
I was
this corner.
gonna.
What?
Oh,
Oh, there's a hot thing in there?
oh, I can take it off.
Good. Oh my goodness.
I was planning to give it.
I'm a winner.
That one's right here.
Yeah.
Right.
Do we need muffins? And these, look at these really closely. It's one little thing.
The one on the top?
No,
That one has to have a one on the bottom?
no.
Well, I think they're gonna play soccer.
So, it's one little thing,
I'm like-
but it's kind of big. Like
See if
maybe
I
it
can
wrong.
throw it off on Mr. Walter and let him.
I
didn't even-
Sweater on tits?
I'm not sure.
He doesn't, I don't know if he has one. Okay.
I'm hungry.
He just had a sandwich.
I know, but I'm still hungry. I'm still hungry, Mom.
Are you? Let me see if I got the right one.
I'll check off mine, honestly.
Well, I have no idea anymore. Mine's awesome. After that, it depends on that one.
You got a sweater on? Crazy. You going through it and looking at it again, or
Yeah.
changing too?
Check it out.
Mom,
Can I take it back to my desk and just leave it talking?
what are they? Do they? I don't like this. I don't want us to.
I suppose. I don't want to make it any weirder. The whole thing, once it's handed in, it's kind of feels like the end game to me. I don't really want to start the thing of always just
Mommy,
handing it in and taking it back. I mean, it's yours until you hand it in. Is kind of how I tend to look at it. But I guess this time it can be. You can go back. All right. Kateson, I gotta go outside. Can I go?
work done while they're setting up.
Yeah.
their goals.
No. You just barely let me take back my test. I'm not even gonna look at it anymore.
I don't want to find anything else wrong.
That one's right.
Oh no.
Why do you have that syndrome?
You need to check over it really carefully. I almost had another one wrong for Jersey. I had another negative sign.
Oh, you want a marker? Yeah. Over here. Jeez, can I hold you a little bit?
Is yours done?
Mine has a grade, but your guys' don't.
Has what? Has a grade.
I wonder if you just,
You have 100 on yours.
yeah. I wonder if that was an accident.
That looks like Mr. Trent's handwriting.
I think it might have been an accident.
What's an accident?
Our reports are back.
You're gonna get 100 on it. Okay, Dad, you're talking to us something else.
Green glass. Brian from
I'm taking that if you want to play.
You probably want to do it that way.
What? I don't know if it's there.
Dude, I got mutilated so many times. It was just like no flat tire. I just stood down.
You want your jacket off?
And I was just like,
Here.
this is so stupid.
Ready? Arms up.
In a way, that block that he did, that wouldn't have been in a goal. Like, if she would have hit it high enough, it would have just gone right over the top. Because she was standing out of the goal, not.
Yeah.
Like, it could.
Hey,
Should we go home? Where'd you put your sweater? Can you grab it?
Nope.
It's on the chair, I think.
I don't want to go. I'm going.
Yeah. What are we gonna do here?
I want to go to
We gotta go home sometime.
Aren't you hungry?
I've been eating. Grab your sweater, okay? We'll go home. I wanna go home before Jay sleeps. That way you can sleep at home. You're on Dad's chair.
I can go with that.
Okay. I will feed.
Should I just get both of them and check over this?
Can I see it?
Yeah, I'll check over the things.
I'm not going to.
I'm not either.
Help me hand me this. I won't get 100.
I know,
I
I
won't
won't
get
get.
a 95, but I'm hoping I can get in like a 90 sometime.
I know. Well, it's never, yeah, never get it.
Alright. Silly. Ridiculous. Who thought about it next? There we go. Alright. Reading. We got I'll check lesson 1. 802.
Oh, what are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to finish lesson 2 or lesson 3?
Starting lesson 3.
I don't think we should finish that one.
Well, we'll probably do some spot on lesson 2. Alright, this unit overview thing, whatever that is. Hey,
Bye.
something else that got missed in the explosion? Alright, number 1 is people. 2 is nature. 3 is parents. 4 is siblings. 5 is classmates. 6 is neighbors. 7 is minerals. 8 is plants. 9 is meat. 10 is milk.
You have to be in that order.
Not necessarily. You can switch like 9 and 10. If they're switched, that's fine. 7 and 8, if they're switched, it's okay. 5 and 6, 3 and 4, so on and so forth. So on and so forth. 11. 1 is character, A is dynamic and static, and B is static. Okay. 2 is setting, A is broad, B is specific. 3 is plot. 4 is conflict. A is external, B is internal. 5 is point of view. A is first person, B is third person. 6 is theme, 7 is mood. 12. Sound, by the way, S-O-N, son is underlined. That's sound and beat. 13, EX is underlined and exclude. That means from and or out. And C. 14, domin, D-O-M-I-N is underlined, and master and A. 15, dominate. 16, dissonance. 17, excludes. 18 and 21 need a check mark. 22, prejudiced responses create conflict. Oh, yeah, make it into a, all right. Fine. 23, wisdom has a role in good leadership, that's what they have. And 24, anger can cause a person to be narrow-minded.
For number 23, I have you can pass that wisdom along to the numbers.
In 23? So you were supposed to change that one. You were supposed to change that sentence to make it kind of a, rather than a question, you make it a positive sentence. So that's
Well,
kind of, yes, but you defeated the purpose of the exercise, so no, unfortunately. So the whole purpose of the exercise was to change the question into a comment or a sentence.
So both of them are wrong.
25. She shut the door. And she bolted the door. Those are the two propositions that it's making. A proposition is just simply a declarative sentence. It's different than a preposition, if you were wondering. 26A, they took Aaron to jail. Aaron was wearing his night clothes. I guess we should have talked about this, maybe possibly in class.
I got them.
Yeah, basically, if somebody comes to you and says they want to make a proposition, basically they're just going to say, well, they're often going to ask it in question, because that's how people are. But yeah, I'm going to make a proposition that way.
Gift language.
No. Do 2 lessons in language. Probably. If we have time today, we will actually. I have Bible on because Wednesdays are the way they are for the spare study period. So I'm thinking I'd like to try to get the Bible test done last period if we can. But moving on. That's a proposition. Just maybe just keep moving. And yeah, so that's it. Grade. 7, 8, 4, 9. 2 points apiece. Or 2 and a 50th. Fractions. Number 8, number 2, lesson 2. The 2 statements that might persuade someone to buy the house you live in. Basically, just think of a good thing about your house.
Well, I'm leaving.
Yeah, but you'd be moving out.
Yeah, and I'd be taking my bed.
I'm gonna be famous one day, and I lived in it. Basically, whatever it is, if you can think of an example, 2 examples, where it would appeal to human desires, such as the beauty of the setting, or that it would be small and easy to maintain, or something like that.
Our place isn't small and easy to maintain.
Well, then you can't use that one. And you can't use that one.
Ours is pretty.
Functional. Functional works.
Do nice neighbors work?
Yeah, neighbors are nice. The setting is wonderful. Only, you can even use nearby landmarks. Like you could even rope in like Billy Chinook or the canyon into, its beautiful setting. Anyway, moving on. Literature. I'm gonna stretch this before. Got a Charlie horse that could run Kentucky Derby. There. And so in lesson 2 we skipped some stuff, correct? We skipped from, where was it? 19 on?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll probably just skip the review altogether. Might possibly
Not food.
talk about some anecdotes, maybe one anecdote. Okay, so basically we need to make sure that we have the definitions for sure nailed down. So an anecdote is basically a short story where you often use it to illustrate a point, or sometimes it's just a funny story that you have, like I don't know, some short little thing. For example, there are 2 anecdotes in this story that are not from the Bible, or maybe there's more than that. Like one of the anecdotes in this last one was a lady who lost her patience with a slow servant, realized this was the chariot God had sent to carry her to into the patients she prayed for. She learned not to be disturbed by slowness. That is a summary of an anecdote. So the anecdote was the story that summary comes from. All right? So that's what an anecdote is. It's a short story used to illustrate a point very often in this sort of situation. An allusion is like where that anecdote talks about, like it alludes to the chariot that God had sent her to carry her into the patients. It's alluding to Elijah's chariot or whatever. So that's what an allusion is. All right. So lesson 2, number 1 is B. 2 is B, 3 is A, 4 B, 5 C. 6, Hannah Whitehall Smith and the Christian's Secret of a Happy Life. 7 children, 4 of them died. She also suffered from rheumatism. All this stuff with rheumatism. That's the rheumatiz. 8 is C, 9 is A, 10 is D, 11 C, 12 C, 13 B, 14 D, 15 C, 16 D, 17 chariots and juggernaut cars, and 18 is arms and trust. So yes, do not worry about the rest of that lesson at all. It'll be fun. The discipline of deformity is a long enough lesson on its own, in its own right. Alliteration. I love alliteration. You have one wrong? Yes, there were, because it's only 19, that's going to be 5 copies. So 1 wrong is a 95, 2 wrongs is a 90, 3 is a 85, 4 is a 82.
Alliteration is easy.
Alliteration is easy and fun.
But not when you have to find it in this.
Say what?
Not when you have to find it.
I like how it mentions here that alliteration, like anything else, can be overdone. Alliteration that sounds forced can be annoying. Bingo! Like music that is too loud.
I found one.
If you have to look too hard for a word that nobody knows to illustrate something that you could use a word that somebody knows, very seldom is that worth it. The whole thing about like the dark corridors of the deserted house and just quiet, that's not overdone. That's actually pretty decent.
So like, without discouragement, maybe the other one would be alliteration.
Where?
Number 17.
Okay, it's full of alliteration. 2 examples.
Okay.
Well, even
Yeah,
the title, The Discipline of Deformity, is
Yeah.
alliteration.
But then there's without discouragement. There's a whole bunch of
I haven't
them.
read it recently.
There's a whole bunch of them.
There you go.
How can you find
Even something like, there's so many of them. Even something like frustration and fear follow it.
Maybe that's a hard one.
Hmm?
Maybe it's with S.
I know.
Which? What? Oh, write your own alliterative sentences. Oh, S's.
That's just the easy one.
P's are fun as well.
Is it okay?
The thing about
Sounds
S's.
forced and. Mine is
Overdone.
like it's not
Or
overdone.
doesn't say it can't sound forced. Maybe you should whip out your thesaurus to look for more alliterative words. Maybe I should say you should use something other than S, but I won't. S alliteration is for some reason the easiest. You can string
You don't
it.
have to write.
You can string it into any sentence.
Is it good?
Yes. I wish to use more S alliterations.
This is ridiculous.
Even an
How much
SH.
alliteration he used? 53.
I know, like, doubt,
What was he
discouragement.
thinking?
He was thinking of alliterating.
Wherever the bus accident was going too fast on the gravel road and lost control. So is that like a subject and then a
Well, what's the
normal
verb?
verb?
Yes. He was going and he lost.
Yeah, that's good.
So like things now falling, other people.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Oh, wait, by the way, I never did get your penmanship for lesson 1.
Mr. Kent,
Did
so
you do it? Did you penmanship for lesson 1?
I don't know.
Language? I didn't see any of them. Yes, Richard.
if I got 100 on my lesson and got 1 off on the penmanship, would that still be counted as 1?
I mean, I think you've gotten 3 out of 3 before. I feel like I'm
Yeah,
fairly
but-
lenient with penmanship. If you spell things right and if you have all the right things dotted and crossed, your chances go way up when getting a 3 out of 3. And then it has to be legible. Oh, Mashtana. English is a good one.
No.
And so is language.
It's not.
progressive tense verbs. So for the first we have perfect, then we have progressives. We should just chill out for a little bit and let us think about perfects for a second. They're like shoving us face first into progressives. We don't like progressives. We never have. Present perfect progressives.
I don't think you want to get big.
Just go straight on to lesson 3 and just let's save this for tomorrow. We need to take it for Friday.
We can just skip that one.
Yo, that's your ball. I do wish to talk to more regards people. People aren't really reading. An intense day. People aren't done their stuff in town ready stuff. We have to go on. Get ready. We do have a study hall this afternoon, so if you aren't done, find a way to marketplace. You need a sticky note, find one sort of reading or whatever. And we must be moving on. I do not remember I feel like we did most of the diagrams, or at least got really close to all of them in class.
We pretty much
One.
all of them in class.
I just did pretty much all of them. I think, so,
You
I'll
didn't
just go-
do soft things.
soft and gender we didn't do.
Yeah.
I'll make some general, generic things. What else do I need? Ooh. Alright. Alright, so I'm pretty sure we did number 1. We have Sarah speaks, obviously. For grandma is a prepositional phrase under speaks. And we have 2 rapidly. 2 is down here, rapidly is here, underneath speaks. Number 2. Store is your subject, has been is your verb. Busy is what? Pretty good adjective, yes. And varied is underneath busy. So we have a situation like this, where busy is here, varied is underneath it. Andrew does his chores promptly and efficiently. Yeah, Andrew does with a direct object, so vertical line, chores, his chores, quickly and efficiently with an and on there. Jesus is calling softly and tenderly. Jesus is calling softly and tenderly. And up here. On all of them?
No,
On 3 and 4, or
I
just
was
3?
gonna say before you go there and check it.
Okay. Take a hat. Number 5. Frank is your subject. Moves and talks, like such. Moves and talks. And quietly comes, as we talked about this in class, quietly goes there. Randy is your on number 6. Randy is your subject, sat. Randy sat. And you get a still and perfectly underneath sat. So like such. And then deer walked is a clause. The is underneath deer, as is on the dotted line. Into the clearing is a prepositional phrase. Number 7. Bad. 8 is really. 9 is well. Oh, I'm sorry. 7 is bad and well. Bad. 8 is really. 9 is well. 10 is badly. 11 is good. 12. The ones that we capitalize are according, Lincoln Journal, can. Lincoln
How
Journal,
many
Star.
are these?
Huh?
How many points are these per?
They're a half, I guess. United States and the Southwest. 13. Last Thursday, Gateway West, St. Louis. 14. Slamming Texas, Hurricane Claudette. 15. Colon between 9 and 45. 16. Colon between 1 and 27, and another colon after 7. Another colon before the quotation. And these are a whole piece. 17 is after the sir. 18. Running with the participle. Running down the cinnamon roll is the phrase. 19. Sunken is the participle. No phrase. 20. A. 21. B. 22. A.
For 19, I have phrase.
No, that would be one wrong.
What?
There is no phrase on 19. It's just something. There's a participle. No phrase. 23. Was. 24 has. 25 gives. 26. Authors is the subject. Are is the verb. Predicate predicate nominatives are split with this. Dave and Nita Jackson, I guess. The is under authors and so is of the chimney sweep's ransom. And the chimney sweep's ransom is one book title, so that's all one subject on the bottom line of the prepositional phrase.
I have the chimney sweeps under ransom.
Take 1 point for that. 27. So yeah, it's because of the book title. 27 is predicate nominative, to know. 28, direct object, to swim. 29, subject, to do. 30. The colon separates the verb from the predicate nominatives. It shouldn't do that.
I have the
If it's right after the
colon
verb.
after that.
After a verb, yeah, that's kind of not the same line there.
I have it needs like I have in order to be right, it has to have more words. Like I don't want to explain this. I have it needs in parentheses these things in front of the colon. So you can go some colon
Oh, that's kinda-
his pets are these things.
Right, and that kind of makes sense.
I have like that. I have like that, except I have the following.
Okay. Take a half for that, just simply because we're specifically talking about the verb here. You're not all wrong, but the fact of the matter is, if it separates the verb from whatever it is that's modifying the subject, that doesn't work. When you have these things, and things is your
We
predicate
just
nominative.
prefer problem solvers. We don't discuss the problem. We solve it.
True. All right. Sure, we'll do these two. 32 is realtor, 33 heroin, 34 obituary, 35 altercation, 36 thwart, 37 jugular, 38 bachelor, 39 infamous, 40 contrary, 41 pathos. I guess pathos? Yeah, sure, pathos. Pathos. That's one we're looking for. 42 duplicate, 43 superfluous. 44 memorable, 45 athlete, 46 hospitable. Make sure it's not hospital. There's B's in there. 47 memento, 48 grimace, 49 dexterous, 50 implacable, 51 vigilant. If you did not give me spelling, that was 0 out of 3, unless I see something before lunch.
What?
There was one person who did not give me any spelling at all.
One and a half.
3 is 24, 5. Go 55, sure. 4.5. 95. 92. 11 is an 87.
5.5.
5.5 is an
What?
94. All right. I'm assuming we don't have to talk too long and hard about direct quotations. The thing is that if somebody new begins to talk, you have to start the next line down with a quotation. You notice here on page 7, number 5, I'm sure you're looking at that with chagrin and sadness. So what? I'm guessing you're not cheering. Say what?
So let's make it like that.
Not hard, there's a lot of writing. I was just going to say tough luck. I just wanted to go out of my way to say that. Before
Mr.
you
Kent, it's not tough luck. It's awful luck. Look at that penmanship.
All right. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. When you do number 5, we'll count that as penmanship for today.
That's in person.
Hmm?
Let's be done in person.
Yeah. So do number 5 for your penmanship and skip number 23.
There's my words.
Do what now?
Do number 5 for your penmanship on this paper. Just do it here. And I'll just count that for your penmanship today. You
Okay.
can skip the actual penmanship.
Could you tell us how many quotation marks need to be in the first one?
In the first part, or we're just going to talk about this here shortly. All right. So where do you have to put quotation marks?
Around the working group.
We're talking. Right. So that's fairly simple, generally speaking. So in number 1, oh, and by the way, now, why wouldn't we just go ahead and do this? Then we can talk about it as we do it. We do it properly, then we'll talk. So number 1, where would your quotation marks be?
Around where and right.
Right, and it's actually, yeah, from where to right. That's Sarah worrying there. Oh, just her luck. Number 2, Leo.
How and how.
Right, make sure it's after the question mark in cattle. So it's from house to cattle. All right, number 3. Oh, that's a good.
Child, to the floor.
Richard. Do the first one.
From having to run. No,
Yeah.
floor.
From child to floor. Because
No.
Aunt Marie is not talking about having found the vitamin. That's just an introductory sentence. And make sure that you go after the exclamation mark on floor as well. Just from child to floor, because before that, nobody's talking. That's just an explanatory sentence, an introductory. Chris, what about the next one?
Oh, she put it in her mouth around that.
Yes, exactly. Ooh, she put it in her mouth. The squeakiness is enjoyable. All right, Cody.
Around payday and already started doing that one. Around that.
Right, so around paydays, and then it starts again at R, and it goes to floor. Before or after the question mark?
Around
After, right? Because that's a question he's asking in the quote. In the quote itself, he's asking the question. All right. Number 4. What's the first one, Leo?
Around you and then.
From you to the last of them with the question mark. Yes. You said you hope you get a copy before the soldiers took them. Why did the soldiers take them? All right. On the next one, Richard.
From that to war. And
Right.
then from GW to left.
Right. So that was during the war. So basically everything what Joseph said, right? So you have to get that was during the war, quotation marks
If
around
you do
that.
that to Thomas Jefferson, you get TJ.
TJ? Actually, no, that ain't TJ. Well, that's what we call him. Tyler. No one call him Jay, but oh well, he's there. Tyler. TJ. And next one, Chris.
You would have made your own land. Is that right?
Yep.
And then around from butt to war.
From butt to war, correct. On the right side of that exclamation mark. When is a case when you would not put it behind the punctuation?
Behind the punctuation? Like
There's
When
not.
they're not. There is
it
a
comes
strange case.
question
Yes, like if, for example, the question is not in the quotation, right? Like, we have an example. Nope. Then we won't talk about it. We might do that. There is a case, so like if you have a question about the quotation, but the quotation is not
Like,
a question itself, then you could put it behind, technically. But it's kind of a rare case, it doesn't happen very often.
So on number 5, you just start on the next line when you select the person talking.
No, you actually just rewrite it. So you rewrite it with what you got there.
I know
That's where
where
you
to
start.
Like,
And then if a new person is starting to talk, then you have to drop a line. Just make sure you get your punctuation, quotation marks, capitalization. Your paragraphing is going to be in there.
Do you have to like put comments in there?
You might. I don't really see anything right off.
well, isn't there like what
when
you
I
got
look at
there?
that thing, I just get
So
this.
what you got there, there's no comma between the question mark there and Jack at all. Because the question mark is serving kind of the punctuation you need. But I will grade your penmanship here. So. One other thing real quick. Actually, two things. On number 9. Can somebody walk me through that really quickly?
Who caused the accident is a adjective clause.
Yes, who caused the accident is an adjective clause. How do you know it's an adjective clause?
Starts with the relative.
Starts with a relative pronoun. Yeah, it's also answers the right question. It's an adjective clause. Okay. And the other sentence, what is the subject and verb?
Who caused?
No, the,
Carolyn's spot.
no, number 9. I'm sorry. Number 9, what does the sentence say? Because what we did so far, we talked about the clause.
Driver was going.
So driver is, right. Was going is a verb.
Yeah, but then
There are two root
Yeah.
verbs.
Lost.
It is a compound verb. Nope, it's verb. So you have to have like this. Driver was going and lost.
lost control of the direct object.
Control is a direct object, yes. Too fast. How would you do that? How would you diagram too fast?
Fast is a direct object.
No.
Not a direct object.
What is fast?
Adverb.
Fast is an adverb. What is
Two
two?
is an adverb describing fast.
Right. Two is describing fast. So you get a situation like this. Too fast. All right. Other thing, number 13, gerund phrases. What's a gerund?
It's a adjective or a verb usually a noun with an ing.
Yes. Where are gerund phrases, Chris?
Is there 2 of them? Or
Yes, there's 2 of them in 13.
Using the elevator and taking the stairs.
That's correct. What about the one in number 12, Richard?
Hanging rope.
Hanging is adjourned, hanging voltage is declared. The next lesson.
I didn't even know.
I inhale. It's a dumb move. I do it though. I'm good at it. Yes.
Example, they use
Say again?
I'm still on 20 minutes.
Literature. Where we have.
Example, they used to have for 120. Is it made?
I think Illustrator is probably going forward. It should say that some of this is. This is
It doesn't
review.
say it.
Yeah, it's
Okay, let me look real quick and just make sure.
I just have
So do you skip a line, like? or do you-
No, you don't have room to skip a line, I don't think.
But that's not really, I just,
It'll be number 3.
it doesn't really talk about examples anywhere. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think
328 Illustrator is correct.
Number 19, I cannot find it.
Chariots of God, the author alluded to Paul's.
Right
number
there.
19. It is, I do remember it. I remember seeing that, yes. All right. English.
we're not ready.
Oh well, we have a study hall this afternoon. Like, why couldn't they just have gotten their act together? Because
They're just,
literally have done, like if tomorrow's lesson we were doing today, we could just have the same, everybody did the same lesson, using quotation marks. Ridiculous. Why?
That's what we have today.
Tomorrow.
tomorrow, and I don't want to do transparent.
Alright,
Did they do that today?
today is progressive tense.
But I guess it's a pretty short lesson.
It is a short lesson, but I think that's because it's hard.
Well, that's because they gave us a whole page of stupid things, so yeah.
Hey, not stupid, just complicated. Mild stupid.
Hey, can I switch some words in here? I accidentally wrote answers instead of replies. Because I just,
Just made sense to you? You write it in pen too, didn't you? I suppose it doesn't really change the meaning. I probably wouldn't have noticed the color beginning. Alright. Let's go back first of all and check lesson 1, perfect tense. We'll just start talking about we'll start talking about tense in general. There's big tense and there's little tense, 3-person tense, 4 and 7-person tense. Sometimes you get big old wiki-ups.
What is
I
superfluous
feel like the
even?
number 22, I just put a comma for the front of it.
22, there's none in there. I didn't
I never knew how to stop.
He wouldn't answer.
This jump.
And,
It is. I looked it
Alright.
up in the Bible. I was,
Where are we at?
that's after gold.
And
Silver, gold, have a nut. Say what?
We were just talking.
Me too. But you're not answering. Alright, so what is a perfect tense?
Perfect tense.
What does perfect mean?
Like the,
without flaw.
Also true. Unless it's perfect in entire one and nothing, then it just means mature.
the time that something occurred.
Right, so it's basically saying time in relation to something else, usually. So give me, well actually let's use a verb, swim. Alright, present is swim, past is swim, swam.
Go ahead.
This is not gonna be a fun one, we're gonna do a different one, other than swimming. We're gonna do, ski. Past is ski. Alright? I skied yesterday. Not even close. Alright, and future is Alyssa. Will ski. I will ski tomorrow. Will ski. That sounds like a Polish name.
Yeah, it does.
Rob will ski. Save that name for later. Just one L probably. Will ski. Let's go over that a little bit. Alright. Then perfect. So if you wanted a present perfect, what would you do?
Just add has and hadn't.
Right.
Have seen. Have seen.
Have skied, yes. You also need the ID. Have skied. Alright, so this is perfect. Mostly. Alright, so have skied, what about past?
Have seen.
Had. So this is, you have or has here. Either one works. Had skied goes under past. What about the future?
Will have skied.
Will have skied. All right. So that's where we're at so far with the perfects. And then we're going to talk about progressives. All right, let's go through and check lesson 1. Number 1 is present perfect, have plan. 2 is future perfect, will have finished. 3 is past perfect, had expected. Not the notch. 4, past perfect. 5 is past. 6 is present. 7 is present perfect. 8 is future. 9 is future perfect. 10, will wash. 11, have or has read, either one. 12 is hurried. 13, will have dipped. 14, had taken. 15, took is not past tense. No. Well, it is past tense, but it's not past perfect. It needs to be taken. So what's the reason? What is the reason? I know it's wrong, but I can't remember the reason.
We don't know either.
15, save or saves. 16, B. 17, A. 18, what do you have for a topic sentence?
Your brain is very long but fast.
Okay.
Hormones are good. Are amazing.
That's good. What do you have?
And talking sounds good.
Hmm.
I will be
No, it was multitasking, pretty sure. Yeah, that one's not super good. Maybe take a half for it.
So just
All right.
pass like that.
Well,
Take
is
the
the
back.
glass half full? Is the glass half full or half empty? You get a half point off, but I get a
Yeah, I know.
half point credit. 19. The act is what we did. Most modern scientists consider Francis Bacon the originator of the cell that the can't English. 20. Comma after gold and after yay.
I don't have enough today.
That's half point. So, yeah, no, yeah, half point, sure. 21, ouch. You need a, the thing, yes, exclamation mark. Weapon is very autism. 22 is none. 23, period after none. 24, linking. 25, intransitive. 26, linking. 27, transitive.
Good guessing.
What?
It's a good guessing. I guess.
Okay, so how do we not have Transitive and linking? Transitive, and whenever they're asking between transitive and intransitive, it means they're actions. Linking is not action. Linking, there's a predicate, nominative, or adjective after. Alright, so that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, I know.
So linking is not action, right? And it has a predicate, nominative, predicate, adjective.
How I think.
It usually has is in there.
No, yeah, and is always work.
Yeah.
I know, always is.
And if there's a, yeah, and if there's a predicate adjective that.
Or if you say, the problem is with that logic is sometimes it gets something like this, the fish soup tasted
Disgusting.
awful. Where in this case, this is a linking verb.
That's what I was already saying.
Okay, I'm just saying it's not it and is already a word. Say what?
It has a predicate adjective.
It does have a predicate nominative, but the problem is, if you're thinking that this is an action verb or whatever, that's obviously
I
good.
understand feels so
You know, you should know
And
that
there's
it's
more.
not. You should know that it's a linking
But
verb.
this soup tasted like grossness or something. Would that be, still linking it?
Yes, because yeah. So when it stops being that way, then is when you like the bear
Just gonna give myself something.
tasted the soup. So now it's an action. Even when you have the like in there, it's still linking. Alright. 28. Side is circled. 29. Person is underlined. 30. Silent is a predicate adjective. 31. Scientists is in parentheses and samples is circled. Indirect he does. 32. Doing, did, and done. 33. Jumping, jumped, and jumped. Good. 2 points for each, I guess. The circumstances.
I think this is the best grade around here.
Okay. How bad is it?
This is the best grade I got already. That means it's a good grade.
You never know. Sometimes people say the opposite of what they mean. I never do.
Is that a Whopper?
Yeah. That's be awkward. It's
I
also
can already
awkward.
tell this part is gonna be absolutely no use.
I know. They always give you these charts and they never help.
Well, they don't ever put the right words in.
You never have a word in the book.
What's the one on the chart? You should have like swings.
All right. And then they use words like conjugation, which means absolutely nothing to most of us. I mean, whatever.
Which word?
Conjugation of the regular verb to more or to blow.
Where's that?
On top of the chart, there's conjugation of the regular verb to blow.
That's the weird. That's the weird.
Conjugation is a good word, but we don't know what for.
Can we skip concept?
We don't have time.
You're actually right in that respect.
I glanced up at the clock before I said we don't have time.
Well, I haven't glanced at the clock already. At this point, don't worry about it. If you get to the end of the day and we're doing nothing else, go
There's
ahead.
not literature to do yet.
All right. So that means we have to talk about the progressive tenses swiftly.
Can you
Yes.
writing BC, does it go before the or after the number?
Look, think about a number line.
Comes before,
All right, so it's like this. So you get 17 BC,
should it come after?
and you get AD 17. See what I mean? That's how you do it. All right.
I just have lessons.
Progressive tenses.
Give me lessons.
Tell us.
To
No, well, it's got a use.
make it comfortable.
I will say that the only time I've ever worried about these is when I was teaching them. So there's that. But they do have uses, for example, if you intend to write
And if I
or edit books.
can't do either of those.
All right, progressive tenses tell what was, is, or will be happening at an exact moment in time. So now what we're talking about an exact moment, rather than in relation to something, we're talking about an exact moment. Present progressive tells of a continuing action that's happening right now, right? So, present, happening right now. We would say am, oh, and by the way, it always uses am, is, are, was, were, be, being, or been. So it uses a being verb along with the present participle of the verb. And always end in ing, all right? So present would be, any clue? Am skiing. All right. So, progressive. It means it keeps happening. It's going to, or whatever. Like it's not stopping, so it's progressive. All right. Past progressive is a continuing action that was happening at a certain moment in the past. All right. So I was skiing. Was or were. In this case, it was. I was skiing.
We were skiing.
Right? We were skiing, but also were. Was it were? So that's past progressive. Future is will be skiing, right? It will happen this weekend. We will be skiing, right?
Hopefully.
All right. Well, I'm actually not planning on it. I'm still catching up from the mad snowball from last week. All right. Now we get to the fun ones. We get present perfect progressives. That's
Have been skiing.
right. Basically, what that means is it had been it already has been happening for a while, and it will continue to go. Right. So present perfect, we say have been or has been. Hang on. Perfect progressive.
You need another one.
You're right. Missing an E in math, and those is too. All right. So the present perfect again is what? Have been skiing, right? Since last Tuesday. That's a long time to be on the feet, but that's okay. All right, so that's perfect progressive. Past, well, that's present perfect progressive. Then you get past perfect progressive. Always has had, right? So this is have is for some reason present. Past just gets had been. There we go. We have our being. We get our past, which is had. Skiing. All right. And future will have been skiing.
Will have been skiing.
Will have been skiing.
That's way too many verbs.
How many verbs are there? Will
That's
have
it.
been
This
That's
is
it,
this
that's
is
for bad.
this is the total. This is the totality of it. But basically, the idea is it has to be able to express that it has been happening and it will be continuing, right? So we will have been skiing. And all those would go on the verb line if you were diagramming. All right. So had is past, have is always present, progressive. Present perfect progressive, all right? So here we have a have again. But basically, remember the had is always past, had and was, and were, is always past. You have to just simply remember the helping verb. That's the only way to remember. And future is always going to have will in it. If it's going to be a perfect progressive, it's going to have been. It's going to have the have been, or some form of that. The be, the being will have been. No, that isn't what it is. Have been. Have been or have been. No, have been. Have been is always had, is always past. Have is always present. Will is always future. All right, let's do 1 through 6.
Maybe 1 through 12.
Maybe we should do 1 through 12. Well, we'll start with 1 through 6.
And
Oh, we go
and
over
we could
18.
go 1 through 24.
Yes, yeah. Number 1 is you can have
And cookies.
yes, is, and, or are.
So do you have to write the
You have to have the helping verb, yes. So you have is cooking, am cooking, are cooking. One of those. One of them. is
I
fine.
am. I is cooking.
She is cooking. They are cooking.
Okay.
I am cooking. Number 2, for right. How
Has
do we
been writing.
had been writing? Make sure it's a had. Yes. If it's have, it would be which one?
So
Right, it would be present perfect. Progressive. All right. 3. Future progressive
teaching.
will be teaching, right? That's just future progressive. 4. Where is it?
Will have been.
Will have been driving. Future perfect progressive. Sheesh. Will have been. That's the one that starts the future perfect progressive.
Was cutting.
Was cutting or were cutting, either one.
Is past progressive different than past perfect?
Yes, past perfect. How is past perfect different?
Had been.
Right.
So for this one, you just write. cutting.
Was cutting.
Was cutting.
Was cutting or were cutting. Number 6.
Has been wondering.
Has been or have been wondering. Right. It all depends on you want to summate in that case. As to whether you have or have. All right. So the verb in each of these sentences. It shouldn't be too hard to underline the verb, and we just keep on continuing with our drill. So 7. What's the verb?
Is learning and cooking progressive.
Present progressive is learning. Elisa, number 8.
Will take and past progressive.
Past progressive. Number 9. Kristen.
Has been growing.
Has been growing, and it's
And that would be. It's not.
have or has is always
Maybe it's present
It's
perfect.
present.
Tense.
present perfect progressive. Yes. Present perfect progressive. Has been growing. It's going to keep on going. I know.
That's some alliteration.
It is kind of. Number 10, Lucy.
We'll have been saying.
We'll have to study.
Future perfect. Progressive.
Precisely.
Future perfect.
Yes.
That's
11. Lisa.
No, we want to say it's future perfect.
Not perfect.
Future progressive.
Just future progressive. Yes. What would make it? What would make it future perfect progressive?
One more time, we will have perfect.
Will have been hosted.
And then the last one is had been taken. And then past perfect. Progressive.
passes, yes. Why does it say present? That's sure not right. Yes, it has to be. Advertising. We'll change that right now. It's gotta be passed. All right. You feel like you kind of have a grip on it, or?
Oh, not 13.3.
Yeah,
You
I see
just
that.
keep saying that through the whole lesson.
Is that the same thing?
No, word.
Yes, exactly.
It's essentially the same.
Yeah, but number 14, where's number? Just said.
Which is, it's passed. Said is simply passed. They don't have to be long. They do not have
But
to be
if they
long.
are, I'm gonna be complain.
If they're long, they're more fun.
And number 15 is past.
This is the biggest thing to remember is the fact that will is always future, have and has is always present, had and was is always past. After that, basically, progressive means you have had been, have been, has been. Progressive is just,
Let's each have a different one.
13 to 15 is all past.
13 through
It's
15.
all past.
Is it now?
That's what I have.
Okay.
Was. This is the past.
Have is the past perfect.
Past perfect?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be right. No. Imperfect. Will rise?
Which is future.
Yeah, and do keep in mind, I'm gonna put a note on my desk, what, 26, if you get done?
Future progressive.
If you've done everything else today, 26. I'll put a note on my desk. So I can remind you, but I want you to remember it as well.
That's perfect.
All right. Language, let's do a few words. Back to the board. Help me. Oh, there it is. Hi.
Because there are some, right there, you told that.
Good.
In prison. For the very
Yeah.
Okay, I'll modify your score. I'll give you.
I got that one wrong.
She had a question that she said she was gonna do why.
Red is definitely blue. Red is definitely pink.
I like this color.
Pink's the best.
Pink was-
Here, I want this blue.
It wasn't supposed to be. I underlined it because it wasn't supposed to be.
But it has to be. After you
Like,
I'm surprised you guys actually like it, considering how judgmental you were about it when you were young.
Oh, yeah.
But I said, you can't judge me when I said it. Yeah. Setting up to
Why not?
me. Because that was from your
I'm not judging them, I just surprised.
Well, you are.
And it's hard.
Because.
Ready to
Yeah,
score out.
I think I should. Your voice.
You're gonna-
Yeah.
squeeze it, it makes the ink.
Did you have this one wrong, your 8?
On the other end.
Yeah, I kinda like
Probably because we kind of,
Okay, what, you up there not giving me anything to do, guys? Number, Cody.
Yes. I
V.
did that at home to a green marker and it was dripping ink out. Like it was literally like dripping.
Vehement and Richard Contrary and
That's pretty inky.
Christopher Papus and Leah Grimace.
Ours was pretty fresh, but I was like, I was like,
Infamous.
I was gonna see how good I can get it, and I took it all over.
Memorable,
I did it
Richard.
extremely
Here.
fast.
That wasn't.
Memorable.
It was worse than that, like I pulled it off, did you hear me?
Memorable.
I pulled it off and took the cap off
Christopher,
and
jugular.
tripped all over the floor.
Mine is what?
Yes. Infamous, memorable, jugular, and dexterous.
Mine's better than mine.
All right. Realtor,
Huh?
Cody. Realtor, duplicate, implacable, memento. Yes.
What's mine?
Implacable. Implacable.
Mine's
Leah,
implacable.
memento.
Realtor?
Realtor.
Is it tripping out?
Yeah, it was a mess.
Mine was like that. It was a new marker.
Get back
Mine
here.
was
Just
when
get back
I
here.
tipped it upside down.
All right,
All over the floor.
Cody.
Yes.
Bachelor, Richard Superfluous. Chris Athlete, Leah Hospital. Bachelor, oh, that's, I guess that's a LO instead of
Yeah,
B.
that's not.
I was gonna say, that would make sense to bachelor. All right,
Bachelor.
and Cody, obituary. Richard heroin, Chris altercation, Leah Ford. You don't want to H in there, so you get the 4 instead of 4.
That was it. It's like, circle.
Okay, erase them.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, for a short amount of time in there.
They're like 2
All right,
seconds.
Cody, Fort, Richard altercation. Cody, Chris, heroin, and obituary. Altercation, yes, obituary, looks good. Hospitable, Cody, athlete, Richard, superfluous, Chris, and bachelor. L-U-O-U. L-U-O-U.
Today, whenever it rains, it's just not.
You do it longer.
Whenever,
Are we done?
No.
yeah, every once in a while.
Cody, memento,
Is it raining?
implacable,
Maybe like
duplicate,
a-
realtor. No, we did last night.
Really?
Duplicate, realtor, implacable, memento.
It's just sort of like.
Dexterous,
I didn't know that.
I'm seeing like one drop on.
dexterous,
Yeah.
jugular, memorable, infamous. Memorable.
Oh, yeah. I can't remember that spell out. I just know it.
Dexterous. Jugular, infamous, without E. And that's, yes,
Now.
dexterous is D-E-X-T-E-R-O-U-S. Yep. Mouse or something else. And your last word. Cody, grimace, Richard, pathos, Christopher, contrary, and Aaliyah, vehement.
Bad. I thought you just said it was a bad.
Yeah.
It is, except for pink. They said it was bad. It was the best except for pink.
I didn't see vehement.
You're a lot.
Everybody else can go back.
I need an eraser. There's an eraser down by your feet. There is? There was.
Can we go out for lunch early?
No, I'm not done with my language.
Yeah.
I don't really know what those spelling words mean.
You don't know what they mean?
Well, that's why they try to get you to use them in vocabulary as well.
Well, I don't
Like in lesson,
know how many
like
I'm gonna
next
get.
lesson,
Well, this lesson.
like superfluous is unnecessary or not needed.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you know anybody else who likes to take apart things
So like to take apart pens.
and pencils?
I spent most of my
Adrian does.
school career doing
Adrian
that.
takes apart things like crazy.
I love taking apart things.
I don't know why. I
It's
did take
fun.
some apart and then can't find the spring.
Adrian's actually flexible.
Typical.
He gets where everything takes it back to like,
It's like the mechanic. He's like, hey, this thing's better than factory. I could put it together and I don't have to even use all the parts.
Probably not this pencil.
That's what Felix says when he fixes his pickup. I'll take off bolts and won't put them back on.
Is that for the
You can only do that for a finite amount of time.
No kidding.
He'll put some of
His
them back
pickup
on.
is gonna quit soon.
Trust
Well, like
me.
It's
on your like
actually
wheel wells,
in the shop in the
you
back.
could just like, I mean, I don't, that wouldn't be smart, just put like 3 bolts. Or 4, however many you want.
You can even fasten a transmission with 3 bolts instead of 7. Trust me.
You know from experience.
And it mostly works.
Mostly?
Fasten a clutch master cylinder with 1 bolt instead of 2, but eventually it will break off. Trust me.
Maybe that's.
Among other things that you can do afterwards.
Like mom will go down to the shop and see pickup parts laying around and she wonders what they're for. And she's like, oh, I don't need that.
Don't need a steering wheel. I just clamp a vice grips on the steering column and just send
that's
it.
the break.
The brake is just kind of a suggestion.
Forward.
That's right.
We're not turning back.
Turning?
Do it.
That's for chickens. So what I'm hearing in all of this is don't face off with Felix.
That's why his pickups down in the shop with some of the parts taken out. He had to take it apart down there and then one of his parts.
Why?
He just hit off his last page too.
If I buy a pickup, I'm not gonna take it apart.
I don't need it.
Well, so here's the point. Here's the
I
deal.
want my dad.
Is
to
some
take it
people
apart.
enjoy taking it apart more than they do driving.
No, it just keeps breaking on him. And he
Well, if
has
I'm
to
gonna
figure
take
out
this-
what
Oh, he's had so many
Yeah, there you go. You're
No, we didn't have regular.
Well, if I was gonna get something to take apart, I would get just like junky little something.
Well, that's fine.
You can get a pen spring.
No, he ran into
Pretty
Bradford.
soon it's gonna be like,
Or Lisa, or he could just be a less crazy driver and
He's
still
not
have his
crazy.
Yeah,
pickup.
he is too, Lisa.
Truth of the matter is, none of us are really working anyways, Cody, so might as well have
I'm working.
I'm halfway working on something.
one. Work for an hour.
Very much.
Basically done.
Cody's gonna have lunch.
Come on.
You know, my approach was always buy junky vehicles and then fix them.
Well, that pickup is a joke.
Felix's approach is buy a big, powerful pickup like tractor.
No, it actually was a joke. He was
My approach is to buy
It's better now.
There's working
My
on a
approach
black
is to buy a
demon.
new stuff for 50 out.
Black
Two inch straight
demon.
pipe it and then leave it.
It's underneath.
Leave it. That's literally all I do. Then it's 2 inch straight.
Chris.
Your father, thank you for the good morning they gave to us. Just thank you for the rain. Just us as leaders, that was helps us to get good grades now. It can just rain.
But it's really-
Why fix a broken or yeah.
Well, I break something, it's not
If I do
fixed.
get a truck, I'd rather, like delete it and tune it